All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahushai Bashem HaRakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which taught us the truth. And Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure to the end. Shalom. All right, this is from The Guardian. All right, it says China will tread carefully in navigating the Taliban's return. All right, and this is all coordinated with America at the helm. Okay, Biden pulled out the troops so that the Taliban could go back into the capital and that America looked weak so that China could look like it's taken over. All right, the bankers, the elite bankers, the Illuminati want everybody to believe that China is taking over the world, which is put in the scriptures in prophecy in Psalms 83 verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They're confederate against the Israelite, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian. All right, the so-called white man, which is Esau, Edom. It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab. Okay, and let me go into the interlinear, and it tells you the Ishmaelites, the Arabs of Moab, is the Arabs in Asia. Okay? It says the Ishmaelites of Moab, which Afghanistan, their neighbor is the Moabites, the Chinese. See? It says Moab, the land inhabited by the descendants of the son of Lot, which is the Moabites, the so-called Chinese. All right? It says also his territory and descendants of Moab. All right? And Afghanistan, their neighbor, is literally Moab. Okay? Because Afghanistan is north of Pakistan. And if you remember, the Chinese and the Pakistanis were fighting right on the border. Okay? So this is those Ishmaelites of Moab. Another example of Ishmael of Moab is also the Saudi Arabians. All right, Saudi Arabia is on the continent of Asia. All right. But this is actually even closer. All right, these Ishmaelites are the Arabs, all right, which are in the false religion of Islam. It says, and the Hagarnis, which is another form of an Arab, Ishmael. All right. It says Hagarnis. It says a people dwelling to the east of Palestine, which is Gaza, the Arabs in Gaza. Okay? So these Ishmaelites that are on the continent of Asia, Gaza, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, all right, they're in bed with Esau Edom, the so-called white man. It says Gibal, which is another Edomite tribe, and Ammon, the Japanese, and Amalek, the Jewish, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre, which is talking about the Hamites, okay? It says Ashur, which is dealing with the Iranians, all right, is the, let me pull this up. My bad, it's Iraq, okay, which their neighbor is Iran, but Iraq, because the Assyrian, which you know as the Babylonian, right, was first Ham, and then it was the Assyrian, which the Assyrian ruled this land here, as you can see, okay. And when you go into that land that it was called I can't remember the name for it, but it was because the rivers that go down in that land, it was very fertile. All right, I believe it's the Fertile Crescent. All right, which when you go into a modern map today, it would be Iraq. Okay, so that land of Iraq is in bed with America, with the Edomites. It says Assyria also is joined with them. They have Hopen, the sons of Lot, Selah. The sons of Lot is the Japanese and the Chinese. And how do they Hopen them? Because they make the world believe that they're the next superpower. All right, which is false, because actually China and Japan are going to get hit with nuclear missiles. It says that in the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra 16, verse 1. Woe, meaning destruction, be unto thee, Babylon, which is America. Babylon, the great virgin daughter of Babylon. All right, virgin daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, is America. All right, so what's going to happen to America? 200 million nukes are going to hit America. All right, which is going to be a great judgment. But you also are going to have nuclear destruction in the Middle East and as well in Asia. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon, America, and Asia. Why? Because they're in bed with Babylon. All right? It says, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria, which that's considered the Middle East, from Egypt up to Syria, which is between there is the land of Israel. All right, you're going to have a nuclear war, which is World War III. And that's what this is leading up to. All right, the Lord's going to make these countries hate each other and shoot missiles on each other. All right, and their number one enemy is going to be America. And that's going to be because Yahweh Shai is literally going to be sitting over America. 2nd Ezra 13 says in verse 3, and I beheld, and lo, that man, Yahweh Shai, waxed strong with thousands of heaven, right? Yahweh Shai, you see him on your screen, waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, the chariots. That's why there's such a great sighting of so-called UFOs over America. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. All right. And it says in verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds out of heaven. From the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. The sea is talking about heaven. Okay, when you look up, you see a blue sky. That's the waters, the heavens. All right, and Yahweh Shai and the angels are coming, and they see that through their telescopes and through their satellites, and it's so much so that we see it with our naked eye. Well, they got their military, their NATO, their UN, and they're going to gather in the land of Israel, in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And the Lord is going to punish them for the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians which been scattered throughout the world in slavery. It says in verse 6, "But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain." This chariot is as huge as a mountain. And pretty much, if you see the Rocky Mountains, they go from Canada to Mexico. All right, the chariot that Yahushua is going to be upon is literally going to block out the sun. "And flew up upon it, because it's his throne. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven," meaning cut out, "and I could not." So just like the sky, you can't see the beginning or the ending of it. That's how big this chariot is going to be. "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight." Which all these nations that are confederate with Edom, they're going to gather together in the valley of Jehoshaphat to fight Yahushai, all right? And they're going to be terrified at what they see. "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war." Because he's going to be sitting over America, and they're going to be shooting missiles at him. All right? And the missiles are not going to hit him. All right? They're going to hit America. All right? He's not going to try to defend himself. He's not going to have a weapon of war in his hand. It says, "But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire." So out of the chariot is going to come fire out of the bottom of it. They show it in the movie Independence Day. "And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, a blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude," which is all the armies of these nations, "nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke." "When I saw this, I was afraid." All right? So when they shoot the missiles, all those missiles are going to hit America, and then he's going to go over to the east, because you got to remember, it says that he gathers his elect in Matthew 24. Verse 29, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven." So it's going to get dark because the chariots, and then they're going to shoot missiles at the chariots. And the chariots are invincible, as well as the Yahushua and the angels. "And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." All right, which the earth is going to rock, okay? And once again, this is going to happen to Israel, all right, the Middle East, and as well to Asia. "And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other," which it tells you in Revelation that it's him putting out the commandment for them to gather us. Revelation 1 verse 10, "I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. All right? Which, that is Yahweh Shai putting out the commandment for the angels to gather his elect, which we're going to be gathered in the blink of an eye, and we're going to be changed. All right? We're going to get God status. Right now, we're mortal men. We are gods, but we die like men because we're in these corrupt bodies. But as soon as we get those God bodies, all right, we're going to become hunters, and we're going to hunt the elite of these races, of these nations, and we're going to put them in slavery. We're going to arrest them, and we're going to put them in slavery because they're the only ones that are going to survive this great destruction. All right, because they're going to be in their bunkers. They're going to be in their, what do they call them? You know, they got these ships out in the atmosphere, you know, space stations, all right? So they're the ones that have this money to hide from the judgment. And the elect, the hopeful elect, which I hope and pray to be in that number, we're going to get the right to hunt them. Right now, we're fishermen, and we fish for men, for the Israelite men that have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, as it is written, so that we could warn our people and tell our people to repent, for Yahweh Shai is coming. He's at the door, and he's knocking. All right, and that's why all these prophecies are happening, because he's going to bring great judgment upon these nations. He's going to destroy these heathen. Let me get Joel 3. And it's real easy to see. I mean, the scriptures are clear, and you can see these prophecies clearly playing out exactly as it has been spoken of. Joel 3, verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, which this is a new captivity they're trying to bring upon us, all right, with the implantable microchip that they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's Mashaphat, which Mashaphat means judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right? And he's going to bring us out of the land of our captivity and set us back in our land. Okay? It says in Isaiah 14:1. Isaiah 14:1, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, which Saudi Arabia, Israel, from even Egypt, that's all our land, all right? That's our holy land from the Nile River up to the Euphrates. That's our land. But you see there's bastards in that land. So the Lord is going to clean that land with fire, all right? Nuclear fire and chariot fire. And will set, it says, and set them in their own land, and the strangers, which are the Israelites that don't know they're Israelites, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All right? And they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob, meaning they're going to cleave to being an Israelite, because they're going to learn this truth in this time of Jacob's trouble. The more worse and horrible it gets, the more they're going to look for the truth, and there's going to be a famine of the word, but at the same time, the hopeful elect are going to be increased. They're going to actually have power to show that they are the elect, and they're going to be doing miracles, and that's what's going to actually allow their people, all right, of Israel that are strangers to see and to recognize and to cleave, just like Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai was given the ability to do miracles so that they would be able to see and know that he was the Messiah. Acts 2 verse 22. Ye men of Israel, and really this truth is only for the men. The women, their salvation is in marriage. All right, the Lord isn't dealing with women like he deals with the men. All right, it says, ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahushua of Nazareth, a man approved of power among you by miracles. So it shows you that he was doing miracles to show you that he was the Messiah. He was chosen by Yahweh. And wonders and signs which Yahweh did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. All right? So that's what's going to happen for the elect's sake. Spiritual power, which we already have a form of it. We have the power to prophesy. And the men that are prophesying are the same men that are going to get the spirit to increase, all right? And they're going to get the power to be invincible, power to fly, power to shoot fire out of their bodies. That same fire that's in the chariots, the same fire that is in the nuclear missiles, because our power is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12, verse 29, for our power is a consuming fire. All right, and that's why in Revelation 11 it says, if anyone will hurt the two witnesses, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and burns them up. All right, so we're going to have spiritual power, all right, in these last days. And Yahweh Shai even said that we would do greater things than he did when he was walking the earth as the Messiah. All right, because these days are going to be like no other. Jacob's trouble, all right, there's never been a time like this time. They got robots, all right, that are going to hunt people. They got things that you can't even imagine. They got animals that are half cyborg, you know, all right? So the Lord is going to increase us so that we could survive these last days, because they're trying to kill us. All praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and that's the main point, so that we could glorify Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ha, Rakakodash, and the Holy Spirit. Bahasham is Paleo-Hebrew for in the name. And double honors to our apostles and teachers, which are of great millstone that taught us the truth. All right? And shalom to the hopeful elect. May you brothers endure. Shalom.